I've analyzed dozens and dozens of ads that have spent over $100,000 on Facebook ads. And most people that advertise on Facebook are looking at the wrong things to make their ads better. Everyone who runs Facebook ads tracks their CPM, their CTR, their CPC, their AOV, their conversion rate, their ROAS, their CPA. And while those metrics are important, they're not the best indicator of your ad's performance, because everyone compares those metrics to what other brands are getting online and what you're seeing on YouTube videos. And the reality is that all of those metrics are going to change depending on the product you're selling, depending on the country you're selling in, depending on how competitive the market is, and of course, depending on the time of year as well. Now, ultimately, the most important thing is that you can scale your ads while achieving your desired target CPA or ROAS, right? But trying to improve your ROAS or CPA by trying to lower your CPM, by trying to get a 15% higher CTR, like focusing on those metrics and focusing on it that way is not going to yield the results that you want. So instead, in this video, I'm going to show you a new way to look at your ads, new metrics, new breakdowns, engagement graphs, charts that we're actually going to go through. And I'm going to give you the exact benchmarks as to what makes a winning ad versus what makes a losing ad. And that way, when you look at these metrics in your own ads and try to optimize them, you're going to know what you need to get to find those winning ads. So pulled up here on my screen, I have many ads that we're going to go through today and look at the engagement graphs. And I'm going to show you what drop-offs you can expect for winning ads versus what drop-offs you can expect for losing ads through multiple stages of the video. So this video is going to be focused solely on video ads. And if you apply the principles that I'm going to share with you in this video, you're going to be much more likely to produce winning ads time and time again. So before we dive into the meat of the video, just a quick background on me. For the last 5 years, I've been running a marketing agency working with e-commerce brands. We help e-commerce brands scale to 8 figures and multiple 8 figures and even 9 figures. And the way that we do that is we produce a consistent flow of winning Facebook ads that we deliver to a team, a media buyer, who can then launch them and scale them. And over the years, we have done media buying for clients, and we still do it for some of our clients. And we also do some conversion optimization and landing pages and funnel optimization. But this year, we've scaled back our service offering to just focus on the ads themselves, because quite frankly, across all those services, producing the ads themselves, the videos, the images is what we're the best at. Now, we produce hundreds and hundreds of ads every single month across our clients. And in order to do that and to have a good success rate at doing that, you need to have a way of producing winning ads consistently. It can't be haphazard. You can't just rely on luck and just, some ads performing out of the blue. You have to have a systemized process. You have to combine the science with the creativity and pair those together in the perfect balance. So let me show you some data of winning ads between 30 and 40 seconds. Now, if you don't know where this area is, basically you can go to any ad, any video ad, and you can click view charts. And then if you scroll down, you're going to see this module, this little block called video performance. And this gives you an overview of how many video plays you have, the average play time, the hook rate, the hold rate. But what's more interesting is down here, you have this engagement graph. And this engagement graph is extremely interesting because it shows you how your viewers are dropping off at different seconds, like every single second of your video. Now, you're going to see why this is important in just a moment. But what I found is that the winning ads that are between 30 and 40 seconds long, they follow a lot of the same trends and they have very similar drop-off rates, okay? So the first area I want to look at is 4 seconds, because this is after the hook. The hook is 3 seconds long, and your hook rate is calculating, how many viewers do you have at the 3 second mark, right? Which is good, okay? But how many do we have after the hook, right? So if people watch the whole hook, how many people do we have 1 second afterwards? Meaning how many are we retaining after that? So that's why I'm looking at 4 seconds. Now, going back to my notes here, at the 4 second mark, right after the hook, the average is about 33% of viewers that are retained. And to achieve this, usually the hook rate needs to be above 40%. Not always, but usually if the hook rate itself, if we have 40% of viewers at 3 seconds, it's very easy for us to have 33% of viewers at 4 seconds, okay? Now this hook rate is just below 40%, 39, but we can see at 4 seconds, we have 29% of video plays. So it is below average. However, this ad is still a winning ad, okay? Now I'll give you another example of an ad that is 35 seconds long. So this one has a 42% hook rate, and at 4 seconds of the video, we have 33% of video plays. 33% of our viewers that were there at the very beginning are still there, right? Still watching at this point. And that is right on target, as we saw in my notes here, where we retain 33% of viewers at the 4 second mark. Let's look at some more. This one has a 46% hook rate, and at 4 seconds, we have 37% of viewers, okay? It's well above target. Let's look at another one, 39% hook rate. At 4 seconds, we have 31%, right? A little bit below the average that we've seen. So that is really the first benchmark, okay? The second benchmark we're looking at for 30 to 40 second video ads is at the 10 second mark. What percentage of viewers are we retaining at that mark? So the benchmark is 15 to 17%. Now let's go through the same graphs and look at the 10-second mark and see where we're at. So this one has 15%, right on target. This one right here at the 10-second mark has 16%, again, right on target. This one at 10 seconds has 20%, right, it's well above target. And this one right here, 10 seconds at 16%, again, right on target. And the third benchmark is about 50% of the way through the video, which is, in this case, around the 15 to 20 seconds mark. How many viewers, or what percentage of viewers are we retaining, right? And the benchmark is 10%. That's what I've seen as the average. So if we go to around 50% of the way through this video, which will probably be around 17 seconds if this graph loads, we see 14,000 viewers is about 10%, okay? This one right here, if we go halfway through the video, again, around 17 seconds, 18 seconds, we're seeing it's actually above 10%, probably more like 12%, right? So it's above target. This one right here, again, 50% of the video, it's about 9%, I would say. So just below the average. This one, 36 seconds, so 50% of the video, yeah, round about 9.8, very, very close to 10%, right on target. So again, you can see how they hit the benchmark. And those are really the three top benchmarks and the patterns that I could extract from the graphs for 30 to 40 second video ads. Now, poor performing ads, they usually fall short on at least two of these benchmarks, okay? So if you look at a poor performing ad, which I'm going to show you in a moment, see the graphs and the difference, you can see that maybe at most they meet one of these benchmarks, okay? In some cases they might meet two, but it's rare. So if we just go back to the ads right here and we look at some that are 30 to 40 seconds long, but these ones didn't perform, right? These are losing ads. So if we start by looking at the 4-second rate right after the hook, the target is 33% of viewers. Okay, this one at 4 seconds has 20% of viewers. Okay, so it falls below the benchmark. So the next benchmark we're looking at is around the 10-second mark. Here we have 18,000 plays. It's about 6%, 7%, which falls below, well below, the 15 to 17% benchmark that we have. And then finally, 50% through the video, which is 15 to 20 seconds through, we have 10% of viewers retained. If we just go to the midpoint of the video, 7,822 plays, it's about 3%, right? So it's well below the 10% benchmark that we set here and that we've seen in the winning ads, okay? So basically, why am I showing you this? Because you can go to these graphs, look at the ads, and if you have ads that are on benchmark and on target, they're likely performing well. And the ones that are not performing well, they're likely below those benchmarks. Now, what can you actually do with that data? Well, you know that if you're, let's just say, up at 4 seconds, you're below the benchmark, then maybe you need to improve your hook, right? You need to improve the strength of your hook. Maybe you need to speak directly to the audience, because that could be a very good indicator that your hook is not strong enough, or it's not speaking directly to your audience. Now, getting 33% means we're getting 1 every 3 people who watch the video to continue watching after the hook. And the reason why I put that as the benchmark and not like 50, 60% is because sometimes, it is good, like all the time, if people don't watch your video because maybe they're not interested and they're just not falling into that audience category. That's completely fine. We need to weed those out, right? We can't speak to everyone. So, around that 33% mark is what you want to be aiming for at second number 4. So if that is below that, right, by quite considerably, if you have 29, if you have 28, you're still good. But if it's more like 20%, I'd say like the cutoff point for me would be 27% and below, then you need to reconsider what's happening at that point. Now, if that is strong, and let's just say we look at the next benchmark, which is around 10 seconds, where we want that to be 15 to 17%, again, if that is off target, then you need to be looking at what's happening at that point. And don't just look at the 10-second mark, also look at the 2 to 3 seconds before, and even what's happening between second number 4 and second number 10, right? And change what's there, right? Create a hypothesis as to why you think people are dropping off. Is it what you're showing in the video? Is it what you're saying? Is it, maybe you're showing the same thing on the screen for 3-4 seconds. You have to change that, change every second. So it could be multiple reasons, but you come up with a hypothesis and then you make that change. Once you make these changes to your ad, you test it again, right? And that's called an iteration. And what happens is that if your hypothesis is true and you executed well, you should start to see those metrics increasing and improving. And what you can do is you can come back to the graph, compare both ads against each other, the original one versus the iteration, and you can see, at 4 seconds, did our percentage of video plays improve? At 10 seconds, did our percentage of video plays improve? And that's how you do it, right? That's the iteration process. And you become better and better at learning what your audience responds best to, okay? Finally, 50% through the video, 10% of viewers retained, okay? So if we look at 50% of the way through the video, we have 7,800. It's about 3% as we saw, right? So it's well below the target. So again, what can you do? You can go to this stage change that, what's happening around this mark, the 3 seconds before, around that point, and yeah, test it again and see what happens. Now, I would recommend, try it. Try testing a change where you make all 3 changes at once, right? All 3 parts of the video changed. And then try maybe a different test, another ad, where you just change what happens around 4 seconds, right? And maybe the hook itself, and then test it again. Because let's just say, for example, you change the hook, right? And at the 4-second mark, you actually, you get a much better video play rate. You're at the target of, 33% on average. But let's just say you also made changes at the 10-second mark and also at the 50% mark. Now, if those other 2 changes actually performed worse than the original, then the overall ad may not perform, okay? So that's why I would recommend changing one of these areas at a time. If budget is a big constraint, then maybe you want to try changing all 3 at a time, okay? But test and see what works best for you. So I do have other examples of ads that follow pretty much the exact same process, where at 4 seconds, it's well below targets, only 15% of video plays. At 10 seconds, it's 11%, so it's, again, below target. And halfway through the video, 348, it's about 5%, maybe 4%. So again, it's way below the target as well. So, yeah, I could show you even more, but I think you get the idea. I've done the analysis for you, and they all follow the same trend, okay? So now, we spoke about 30 to 40-second ads. Let's talk about ads that are a little bit longer in length, because there are a lot of similarities between the 30, 40-second ads and the 40 to 70-second ads, but there are some differences. And there's a 4th benchmark that we need to be considering with these longer ads. So ads that are 40 to 70 seconds long, these video ads, I'm going to show you the similarities in the benchmarks with the winning ads that have spent $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on target. So we have a lot of data, right? And then I'm actually going to show you what happens to the ads that don't perform and just show you the trends. Okay, so let me pull up these ads and we're going to look at the commonalities. So the first thing we want to be watching out for is the 4-second mark again. And yeah, around 30% is similar to the 30 to 40-second ads. It's a little bit lower. I just found, just doing an average, we're getting about 30% of viewers that are retaining after that, okay? So let's actually look in practice and see here, this first ad, 33%, so it's above that target. This one right here, as we see the 4-second mark, 36% of video plays, is above target. This one right here, 4 seconds, we see 22% of video plays, again, well below target, but this is a winning ad. And same point as before, not all of the benchmarks need to be at their target. This one, 32%, so it's pretty much actually above target. This one, 4 seconds, 29%, so a little bit below target. So you can see that even if you're a little bit below, you can still get a winning ad. So the next thing is the 10-second mark, 15 to 70% of viewers retained. Again, like we saw, this is pretty much the same benchmark as we saw here. It's the same for these slightly longer ads. So at the 10-second mark here, we're retaining 13%. It's actually below target. At this one, 10 seconds, we're retaining 17%. So this is right on target. This ad right here at 10 seconds, 12%, also below target. This ad right here at 10 seconds, 17%, right on target. Finally, this one at 10 seconds, we get 12%. So there's a lot that are actually quite below that. And that's also fine. Like if you're a few percentage points below, it's when you're more like half of this that you have to like be concerned and maybe make that change. All right. So the new benchmark that we've inserted that we didn't have in 30 to 40-second ads, mainly because, 10 seconds is pretty much the 25% mark, right? It's basically the same for the shorter ads. But when you have longer ads, you also want to be looking at what's happening between 10 and 17 seconds. Okay. What's happening after that 10-second mark? The average of 25% of the video is around 9 to 10% of viewers retained, okay? So let's have a look at the charts. So we'll find the 25% mark, pull this up, 12 seconds. We're getting, just above 10% of video plays at 25%. So we are, again, on target. This one, if we find the 25% mark, we have around 15% of video plays, which is very, very impressive, well above target. So this one of the 25% mark is around 6.5%, maybe closer to 7%. Below target again, but yeah, this ad is a winner. So you do get some outliers. And this one at the 25% mark, we're getting, just above 10%, I would say, maybe even like 11%. So above target as well. And this one right here, if we just have a look, this one is also 11, 12%. So that is the commonality. And yes, there are some outliers, but this is what you need to be aiming for. And then 50% of the way through, you want to be aiming for 5 to 7% of viewers retained. Now, just a quick check on these ads. This one is above that target. It's about 8%. So very, very good. This one is about 5%. This one right here, the outlier, is actually more, say, like 3%, maybe 3.5. So again, it's also below benchmark, but yeah, this ad is a winner. So you will get some outliers from time to time. If the ad is working, I mean, it's working, right? This is what happens, in 99% of the cases, these benchmarks are going to be true. This one is hitting about 6 to 7%. So yeah, right on target. This one right here is also about 5, maybe 5.5%. So you can see how, again, most of the winning ads fall into this category. And poor performing ads usually fall short on at least 3 of these benchmarks. So also, if we were to break down some poor performing ads. So if we look at the 4-second mark on this one, we see 25% video plays. So it is below the target of the 4-second mark. The 10-second marker, we're looking at least 15%, and this one gets 10%. Okay, so it's also below the target. At 25% of the way through the video, we're looking at 9% at least viewers retained, and we're getting around 7%. Okay, so it's also below the target. And at 50% of the way through the video, we're looking at least 5% of viewers retained, and we're getting around 3%. Okay, so again, below target. And you can see the commonalities with other ads as well. So at 4 seconds, 15% of video plays, it's well below target. At 10 seconds, 5%, well below target. 25% of the way through the video, we're getting around 4%. So again, if we go back to our benchmarks, it is well below target. At 50% of the way through the video, we're looking at least 5%. This is well below that. I would say more closer to 2% or even like 1.6, 1.7%. So that just gives you an idea as well of how poor performing ads fall well below these metrics. And usually, again, you can come to these different stages, just like I explained in the shorter ads. It's the same here, but now you have a fourth thing that you can change, right? The 25% of the way through the video. And again, change one thing at a time. That's my recommendation. Test the ad again, and then see if it, patches up that section. And I would always start by changing the hook, right? That is the most impactful thing you can do. Because if you can get your hook rate up to closer to 40%, it's going to have a bleed through on the rest of your video, but it's just going to give your video much more chance at performing as well, because most people will drop off at that 3-4 second mark, okay? So hopefully this gives you a good insight into a different way to look at your meta ads. Something that most people, I haven't seen anyone talking about this. So yeah, hopefully it just opens your eyes to something else you can do to create more winning ads. If you don't want to spend your time doing any of this, looking at graphs and charts all day, then this is what we do, right? We've been doing this for the last 5 years. We can produce winning ads for you on a consistent basis. We can deliver ads to your team on a weekly basis. If you have a media buyer, we'll work directly with them. We know how media buyers work. We have our own, because we still do media buying for some of our clients. But yeah, if that is something you're interested in, then there's a link down below this video. If you scroll down to the video description, you can click the first link. It's going to go to my website, and you can book a call directly with me. We'll have a chat about your business and see if we can actually help you with producing those winning ads for you consistently. All right, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.